Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna see what happens when an entitled Karen is also insane. Woman throws my granddaughter's ice cream on the ground. Also posted in Entitled Parents. Apologies for the length, but I'm too livid to write concisely. My granddaughter's dog died yesterday and she's been absolutely devastated. All of her siblings were devastated, but she's taking it even harder than the siblings are because she wasn't home when he passed, and is the only one who didn't get to say a proper goodbye. I promised her I'd take her out for ice cream today to get her mind off things. We got there, and it was just after dinner, plus there was a baseball team, so it was a long line. We did what normal people do. We waited in it. The person behind me had a daughter, a few years older than my granddaughter, who is 7, so this girl was probably about 9 or 10. The girl was playing a game with music on her phone, full volume, to the extent that I could barely carry on a conversation with my granddaughter, and the store had the radio on, so it was contrasting sounds. It was irritating, but I didn't feel like making a scene. 5 minutes pass. We're towards the middle of the line now. The woman behind me, kids still blasting their game, taps me on the shoulder and asks if she can cut in front of me in line because her daughter has to pee, so they need to get out of there. I kindly inform her that the parlour has a bathroom and point to the clearly marked bathroom that is literally directly adjacent to us. She says she doesn't want to lose her place in line. Her daughter is at least 9 years old, why would they both need to leave the line? And asks the person in front of me if she can cut them. They say, "What? Sorry, I can't hear you over your daughter's phone." That was satisfying. I hoped that would be the end of them. No, the girl never even went to the bathroom. 5 more minutes of blaring game music and finally we reach the front. We order our ice creams. My granddaughter gets a scoop of pistachio and a scoop of Rocky Road. She asks for them in 2 separate cups because she doesn't like it when the flavours melt together. The boy behind the counter, couldn't be a day over 16 and running this entire pack place himself, says, "I think we're out of Rocky Road, but we'll have more in around 15 to 20 minutes. Wait, there's just enough left for a scoop." We're both relieved, because Rocky Road is her favourite flavour, and her mum wouldn't love me keeping her out an extra 15 to 20 minutes on a school night. This woman literally steps around me and shouts at the clerk. Actually, she'll have 2 scoops of strawberry, and quickly, there's quite a line. Thinking she's talking about her own daughter still, I explain that we aren't finished ordering yet. She motions to my granddaughter and says, she'll have 2 scoops of strawberry, and my daughter will have the Rocky Road on a waffle cone, thanks. I'm flummoxed as to what's gone on and sharply cut her off. There will be more in 20 minutes, please don't engage with us again. I hand the clerk the money and find seats for my granddaughter and I. The woman and her kid are making a big screaming scene, asking why we got some and they didn't. Remember, there will be a fresh batch in under 20 minutes. We sit down, as far from them as possible, and start exchanging stories about her dog and talking about all the ways we'll keep him alive in our memory. We talk about what kind of dog she and her siblings will look for at the pound, and what kind of dog her previous dog would want her to bring home. The woman and her daughter finally realised no amount of screaming would make the ice cream arrive faster, so sat down across the way and the mother kept giving us dirty looks. Thankfully, my granddaughter didn't notice. I suddenly actually have to pee. I'm on a medication that makes it difficult to hold it, so when I have to go, I really don't have a choice. I told her to stay right there, and I ran up and went to the bathroom. I wasn't even gone 3 minutes when I heard screaming. I rushed out just in time to see the entitled mom sliding back into her booth and her daughter smirking. My granddaughter is on the floor, on her knees and in tears. That woman came up to her and spilled her ice cream onto the floor. My poor granddaughter is squeezing the melting floor ice cream in her fist and looks absolutely heartbroken as she explains what the woman did after I got up. What was supposed to be a fun night to get her mind off being sad has now become catastrophic and traumatic. I go and confront the entitled mother, remembering the goal is to not get a justice high, but to avoid further traumatising my granddaughter. As I'm opening my mouth to speak, the woman gives me the ugliest grin and says, "There'll be more in 20 minutes, please don't engage with us again." The clerk comes over to see why my granddaughter is sobbing in an ice cream puddle on the floor. I explain what happened. The woman denies it, and several people vouch for my granddaughter's account of things. They thought it was an accident on the entitled mother's part, so didn't see a need to get involved, but only just realised it was intentional and were now loudly protesting to the clerk and adding that the noise from the game was driving them insane. The clerk sternly tells the mother he'd asked her already to turn the sound off on the game and he couldn't have them harassing patrons, so she'd need to silence it and order something or stop taking up the booth. I wish we could have just left at this point, but we had to wait for more Rocky Road now. The nearest ice cream parlour is like a half-hour drive and supermarket gallons aren't the same as an ice cream parlour scoop. She whined that they were still waiting for Rocky Road to come out, and he said, "You can pay for it now if you want to stay," and turn the game to silent. And the mother went on and on about she's just a kid and she's just trying to have a good time and the game isn't the same without sound. A customer even went so far as to offer the girl his own personal headphones, and the mother said, "She can't wear those. It's not good for her hearing to have sound beamed directly into her ears." The clerk told her this was the final warning before he had to call someone, so she silenced the game. He didn't even follow through in making her advance pay. At this point, the entitled child started smashing her fist into the table, creating a noise as loud and pulsating as the game. Her mother tried to reassure her that they'd have the ice cream soon, and this girl throws a fork across the room, beating an infant in a carrier directly in the head. The mother of the infant screams, and the infant is crying and shrieking, but looks to be okay. It didn't get in his eye, thankfully. She carries him out, and the father goes to complain to the clerk, who tells entitled mother in no uncertain terms that they need to leave. Remember, he's just a teenager. I don't think he'd ever needed to throw a mother and a child out before, because he was practically shaking, and being senselessly chewed out by the father of the baby probably didn't help things either. The woman makes a fuss and says she's going to leave a bad Yelp review with his name on it, and she knows everyone in this town and no one will ever be back once word of her mistreatment gets around. The clerk just keeps saying, "Please leave, ma'am. Ma'am, please. Please leave. Now, ma'am." Her daughter tried to push another random family's ice cream onto the floor as they walk out. Ducky see, ducky do, but thankfully her arms were too short and she missed. When they were gone, the clerk bought my granddaughter the biggest ice cream sundae she's seen in her entire life, with Rocky Road, chocolate, and s'mores ice cream on a brownie bed topped with marshmallows and fudge. We left a generous tip, and my granddaughter made no secret of her glee. But here's where it gets really weird. We go out to the car, and I spot entitled mother and her kid standing outside. I ask the clerk to stay with my granddaughter while I pull my car up to the front. Turns out, that was the right move. They start screaming at me. "My daughter didn't get to have any ice cream because of you. Are you happy now? You deprived a young girl of her ice cream. You and your wicked granddaughter are evil, self-centered witches." Yep, I was glad I left her in the store. I threw it in park and told my granddaughter to cover her ears because we were playing a game. I led her into the back seat, singing Baby Shark, her favourite song, as loud as I could to drown out the taunting by the entitled mother. She was targeting my granddaughter directly at this point, saying, "Thanks to you, my daughter may never be able to have ice cream again. Do you feel good? You're going to get fat now, while my pretty daughter has no sweet treats." It was really demented stuff. It made me glad I didn't get into a back and forth with her. She really didn't seem to be playing with a full deck. And her poor kid was just crying at this point. No wonder. Once I shut her in the side of the car, I pumped up the radio and kept it up until we were out of earshot. When I got far enough out of the parking lot and told my granddaughter she could take her hands off her ears because she'd won the game, we sang Baby Shark all the way home, and I don't think she has any idea of what went on. She was in heaven all night and didn't even mention the tense altercation when she got home. All she could think to talk about was her big sundae. Hopefully they're banned from that place. Crazies. See, I told you. These parents are not only entitled Karens, but also have a few screws loose. And while it sucks for the people that are involved, it does make one hell of a story. My parents gaslighted me for 28 years. My parents are super conservative religious homeschoolers. My mother was anti-vax, but my dad was active duty military and they required us to be vaccinated. When I was 14, my mum took me to a conservative religious psychiatrist and had me diagnosed with autism. I was prescribed antipsychotics which my mother dispensed every day to make sure I took. The thing was, my mum used to tell me a story about how I changed when I was 2.5 years old. How, when I went to bed I was her sweet little girl, but when she went to get me in the morning there was this thing in the crib instead. My whole life I was told I was the challenged child and that I had to work harder to be normal, or whatever the hell my mum thought was normal. I was told no one would love me until I achieved some undefined ideal. I was constantly called selfish and self-centered for every minor thing I did. I was made to believe that because I was autistic, I would never be able to rise to the level of my brothers. I would always be second best. I would never be good enough for anything but being another conservative religious homeschooled wife and mother. I tried moving out several times after I turned 18, but mum said I wasn't ready, that I was maturing slower than normal people because of the autism. I was accepted into several prestigious colleges, one even an Ivy League school, but my parents forced me to go to my local community college so I could live at home. I wasn't allowed to drive until I was 19. I wasn't allowed to have a cell phone until 20. My curfew was 11 o'clock until I was 21. At 21, I was expected to clean the house, shop for groceries, cook for my father and brothers, care for the animals, work full-time and pay rent. At 26, I was offered a job in another state and grabbed the opportunity with both hands. I moved into a tiny apartment, adopted 2 cats and found a therapist. Turns out, I don't have autism. I have ADHD. Also, I'm hella gay. Now, 4 years later, I own a home, I have 4 cats, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, and I have enough seniority in my job to have weekends off. Also, my parents and older brother no longer speak to me, but I count that as a win. Okay, so that's all for r/InsaneParents. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. And, as it's Sunday, I also want to say a massive thank you to my wonderful patrons. BackwardsDDog, Tyler Miller, Jen Burton, Jen Spanning, Bo Walker, Princess Kate, Skyler A, Elizabeth Filmore, Stephen Arnowitt, Anonymous, Shagar, Koltin, Bruce Reed, and James Scanlan. Thank you all so much for your support. Mwah. That's for you, but keep it between us, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Bye!